More and more are joining them. The players are rejoicing.
Welcome to the Old Glammy podcast, a podcast dedicated to all things Glamorgan cricket. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, give us a follow on Twitter at @OGlammyGlammy or Instagram, search Glammy podcast. So sit back and enjoy with us the ups and probably downs of Glamorgan County Cricket Club. Hello, welcome to the latest episode of the Glammy podcast. I'm Andy Ward, and with me as always, Ed Lockett.
Yeah. Hi, Andy. Good to
Hi,
see you.
We've got quite a bit to get through on this week's pod. We've got some club news. We'll be reviewing the fixture against Leicestershire, and then we'll be previewing our fixture against Hampshire, which is starting on the 1st of May. So let's review the club news. Starting with the Glamorgan Women. Since we last met and recorded, they've had two fixtures. First fixture was against Leicestershire in the One Day Cup, the League Two match. And Glamorgan won again after 50 overs, 263 for 7. Leicestershire off 46.4 overs, 210. So Glamorgan win by 53 runs. So they've made a really strong start again this season. Some notable scores from once again, Lauren Parfitt, captain, set high score 73. It's really doing well this year, started the season really well. Megan Sturge as well with a second top score. Or she had a 34, pardon me, and then Sarah Phillips with a 39 not out. And some of the bowling figures for the Glamorgan women. Anna Mai Shern, she had 2 for 24, and Gemma Porter 2 for 33, and then Bethan Ellis 2 for 34. So the wickets being spread around. And that, I think Glamorgan women are unbeaten in that One Day Cup. Really strong start for them. They also played in a T20 County Cup match against Devon. Now, Glamorgan women at the moment are Tier 2 county, and next year they'll be going up to Tier 1. So they play Devon women. And Glamorgan 140 for 8 off their 20, women 129 for 5 off their 20. So Glamorgan win by 11. Strong start to the season. And the next fixtures I think that they've got is a one-day fixture against Derbyshire, and then second round of the T20 Cup on Sunday, the 17th of May. So we will obviously review how they get on those fixtures, but excellent start from the Glamorgan women again this season. Turn our attention back to the Glamorgan men, and first off with the second 11. So I think when we recorded the last pod, we had a preview of the Glamorgan against Cardiff friendly. Glamorgan obviously won that game, but what I wanted to do was just to highlight some of the standout performances from the Glamorgan side. Jamie McElroy did play, and he took 6 wickets for 34. And then he was obviously called up to the first 11 squad and didn't play much else. In terms of batters, which we got a keen eye this year, because obviously we will review what happened at Leicestershire, but as we know, we might be in trouble with the batting this year again. So it's good to keep an eye on what happens in the seconds. Will Smale did play. He opened and got 6. Callum Nichols got 32 opening, and then Jake Hope Bell, who we've mentioned, got 69 and got 61. He got called up for the first squad as well. In the second innings for Cardiff, Tom Norton took 5 for 25. So he took 1 for 78 in the first innings. Doing better in the second innings. Good to see him in the wickets. Second innings, batting for Glamorgan, Callum Nichols got 63, opening Beirut 43. And they've just finished today a friend against Gloucestershire, and the match was drawn, but not so worried about the result. But we're looking at how they've got on in terms of individual performances. And something just to highlight to listeners is that in this friendly, Glamorgan were trialing a fast bowler, 24-year-old fast bowler, Connor O'Riordan, and he he's a UK British passport holder, but has played for New South Wales second 11 and part of their academy in the Big Bash franchise for Sydney Thunder. So he was on trial. So keeping a keen eye on how he fared as well. The Gloucestershire first innings, he took 3 for 23. Jamie McElroy didn't take any wickets off his 11 overs, but Conor Ryder did. He took 3 for 23 off 9. Strong start. Jacob Bell, 109, opened. Great score there. No other real contributions that backed, unfortunately, from the Callum Nichols and Will Smale. No Billy Root in this, so that leaves you to think he may still be in the first 11 scored. And then into the Gloucestershire second innings, I got 1 for 21, and Tom Norton got 1 for 36. I should say Tom Norton took 2 for 56 in Gloucester's first innings, so he is picking up wickets, but I'm not sure if he's going to be break through into the red ball team at the moment. And then in Glamorgan's second inning, Will Smale got 44, Henry Hill got 56, unfortunately Jake Hopewell got 8, Callum Nichols got 25. So yeah, would have liked them to got strong scores opening, but it wasn't meant to be. So that's the Glamorgan women and the second 11, all up to date on that. So we'll now turn to the Leicestershire game. Obviously, finished in the draw. The starting 11, they went with the same 11 that finished the game against Notts. So that was Zayn Hassan at 3, and then Sean Dixon 6, and then the same bowling attack. So they didn't rotate the bowlers, which I think they're going to have to do, I would have thought, against Hampshire, because the same 4 bowlers playing in 4 county matches. I think they're going to have to freshen it up, but we'll preview that in a little while. Go back to this then. We won the toss, side to bat. I was really hopeful that we were going to get a decent score, which we did, but of course we were in the mire a little bit at lunch on that first day. Obviously we lost Byram at 1 for 1, not great. The poor form continues in that regard. Then Alassane went 23 for 2. Try went 55 for 3, and then Ingram 91 for 4, and really was starting to fear the worst on a decent conditions for bat. That was obviously borne out by the fact that Carlson decided to bat. I started to think, oh no, this is not good. But fortunately, Carlson and Sean Dixon put on a decent partnership. Took the score of 270 for 5. Carlson went, and then went at 237 for 6. Dixon eventually went on scores of 265 for 7. And then an over 100 partnership there. I think it was Van de Gerten and Mason Crane, 398 for 8. Andy Gorvin fell when it was 418 for 9, and eventually last wicket, Mason Crane 440 all out. Obviously, Carlson's 95. I was watching that on the stream at the time, and he was run out, and he played a shot, he didn't get hold of it properly, and he was out of his crease, and I was gutted for him. Not a very nice way to lose your wicket. So close to the 100. Same as Dixon as well, and going really well. Started to play some nice shots. Out for 90. Mason Crane getting stuffed for 99. It just wasn't to be for Glamorgan to get a centurion. Leicester in reply, 586 for 7 declared. Tough going at the end. Obviously, 2 centuries in their score. It rolled with retired hit on 104, and then Johnny Tatson got 112. So contributions as well from Ben Cox with a 68 not out. The bowling figures for Glamorgan, not great reading. Tim Van Gerten went wicketless for 0 for 77, which you can't keep relying on Timmy to open the bowler and get the wickets. Ryan Hadley 2 for 90, Andy Gorvin 2 for 89, no wickets for Zayn Hassan. Mason Crane took 1 for 167, so he's 38 overs and he's doing a lot of the workload with Ben Kellaway would have, and obviously Kellaway's out for a couple of matches. And Carlson 2 wickets for 100 runs. Asa Tribe had it over for 6 runs, so slightly depressing at that stage. And then Byram, the second innings, Byram went for 5. We'll discuss his place when we preview the Hampshire match, but I'm really not sure where they go on that front. Good to see Asa Tribe get 67 not out. Zain Al Hassan 29, and Carlson was 28 not out at the end. Yeah, I'm disappointed. Glad we didn't lose, obviously. Glad we showed some fight in that second innings, and nice for Tribe and Carlson and I guess Zain Al Hassan to put the bad balls away and bet up the time. And by the end, they didn't look like they were going to get out. Look, I'm happy we came away with a draw in the end. Ed, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, yeah, a bit like you, I was concerned when Carlson came in at 20 odd for two. That's not necessarily a good sign when you win the toss. But yeah, obviously, yeah, the way the both innings worked out, they suggest that it was very much favourable batting conditions. Probably quite dull, possibly to watch, but that's fine. Like I said, we said last week, I maybe suggested that this could be like a must-win game, but yeah, I think that was a bit too far to say something like that. But I think hit the nail on the head, and that is probably must not lose, which they've done. Mission accomplished, I think, really. And yeah, I guess the last thing you want to do at this stage of the season is start losing games at home, and at least give yourself the chance of at least picking up points, which is what they've done. So yeah, fairly neutral about it, really. Not excited or annoyed in any way, just a bit, yeah, a bit meh. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's right, Ed. I think in terms of the point situation, we got 12 and Leicester got 14 to take that. Player of the match,
Yeah, I
from
think,
one
well,
point of view.
bowling wise, no one really stood out for me. But no, I'm going to go great contribution. I'm really glad that Dixon got 90, and I would have liked him to go on and get 100, and obviously gutted for Mason Crane to fall on 99. But yeah, I'm going to go for Kieran Carlson as man of the match, just for playing a good sort of captain's knock there and ensuring that there wasn't a collapse.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, he played a big part in that. So yeah, Kieran Carlson, my man of the match.
Will not disagree with that. I think he did really well, and to see him when he walked off and he got run out, fuming. And I think everyone could sympathise that a slight rush of blood, maybe a moment of madness, and we don't often see from the captain. So yeah, hopefully that 100 is coming soon, and he looks well set, deformed this year. So I have brought myself to look at the table for the first time this year, and we've got 27 points, and Yorkshire below us 26 points, and then Hampshire our next opponent's got 25. And top of the table, Warwickshire 55 and Somerset 54. So there's a gap appearing, but yeah, as I said, I agree with Ed. Thought we didn't lose that one, so after losing against the Knot, so yeah, we'll take that and we'll move on. That brings us nice to our next opponent's Hampshire. Ed will preview the personnel. Just want to quickly let you know that they've played 3, same as us. They have won one. They beat Yorkshire, but the first game they had was Essex, and they lost by an innings, 137 runs. And then they played Somerset in the last fixture. It was between the 17th of April and 20th of April, and they lost. And Somerset won by 2 wickets, so that was a bit of a closer one. That's just the last couple of fixtures. So Ed, over to you, and just to preview their personnel and to maybe give some more information on the last fixture.
The cricket club been in the top division for a while now. Sort of key personnel. Giles White is their director of cricket, and Jimmy Adams, who's also played for them, he's their main batting coach. And as with all clubs nowadays, they've got a vast array of staff on them. Didn't really recognise any of them apart from Giles White, so he's a former player as director of cricket, and Jimmy Adams as batting coach. But yeah, their last game was their loss to Somerset at the Rose Bowl, or Utilita Bowl, it's now called. So very good game, very tight game. That Somerset did well to win. But player wise, I think so their captain would be Ben Brown, he's captain wicketkeeper, normally bats at number 5. Jake Lehman, so son of Darren Lehman, bats number 4. And I guess bowling wise, you've got to point out Carl Abbott. So he's been around the county circuit for a long time now. I remember he came over to play in mid Devon as a young person in his early 20s, maybe late teenage years. But yeah, from sort of South Africa. And yeah, but as qualified as a Colpack player, he took them all the way up to the Premier Division as an
Wow.
overseas player. Yeah, just in every promotion every season. So yeah, but he's been with Hampshire a long time now, very sort of consistent bowler. And Sonny Baker, so he's their pace bowler as well. Been around the larger parts of England consideration, so never a serious contender, but he's been certainly been thought of. And yeah, Liam Dawson as well. So he's the off spinner who's played in all sort of forms of cricket and yeah, did play for England recently as a bowler as well. Yeah, it's going to be a tough test, even though, yeah, obviously the Hampshire are bottom of the league. But I think yeah, they're a team that have been in the top division now for a long while. And yeah, we'll have a bit of know-how about them. So it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, there's a couple of names there I am familiar with. And once again, it's not until you have the names read out to you and a little background, you realize, oh yeah, this is a well-established team. And I did watch an interview with Richard Dawson this week, and he kept was very positive and saying we just keep need to challenge ourselves and keep developing and keep winning sessions of cricket. I think that's what they identified in the Notts game, where we just can't afford to lose an hour and a half of a session. It's really hard to fight back against these quality opposition. So taking the positive out of Leicestershire, we did that. We obviously the first day we lost the first session clearly, but after that we got back on even keel, and obviously it finishing a ball draw. But yeah, going to be a tough one away, and no indication of any changes or anything like that or any injuries. So we can assume that Callaway's not going to be fit for a couple of games. What to do about that batting lineup? Would you go back to Zayn Al-Hassan at the top? I've been thinking about this every day since this is the last day of that game against Leicestershire. I'm like, easiest thing, I don't know. It just feels like Eddie Byram's just not there. He's just not there. So what that you leave a gap at one. So do you then go for Zayn Al-Hassan?
Mm.
And okay, that leaves a gap at three. Keelan Carlson doesn't want to go to three, and we've had this discussion over the last couple of years around players not moving players up. Clearly, they're not going to do that. Billy Root clearly isn't the answer to open or go at three. For me, the outside position, it would be just move everyone up. You bring Billy Root in. Personally, you bring Billy Root in. He goes in at six, and then Dixon five or whatever. And in the bowling department, they're going to have to rest one of them, probably Andy Galvin. You put in McElroy, I think you have to give him a chance. Or given Tim Van Gerten's figures, and they will be able to, they'll be monitoring his fitness, etc. Whether or not it's time to give him a rest. And because I think Ryan Hadley's got this game. Well, we're halfway through this block of six, so he's got 3 games left with us, and then that's it. So he's going to play all six. And why shouldn't he? He's taking wickets. But yeah, what are you sensing there? Do you think there's any chance of them chucking one of these rookies in yet?
Yeah, I was leaning towards that actually. Sticking with, yeah, tried and tested. Even I think we're not at that stage yet where, yeah, okay. So if we stick a youngster in and he performs, then great. But I think the chances of that happening, I think there's more chances of Eddie Byram turning it around. That's the thing. So and that would be better in the long run for the whole season. So yeah, it's a tricky situation, but I don't think we're at that stage yet where we right, yeah, and start putting untested players in there. So I would stick as it is. Yeah. Because there's just not obviously there's not the strength and depth, but I think you would just want to, yeah, trust what strength you have got and give it a proper go rather than 3 poor games yeah, stand by
Yeah.
them.
I think that your voice of reason is brought me around to thinking that if we change the top order now, then you're changing positions 1 and 3 because I can't see anyone else coming in at the moment. Now, wait to see how. Hopefully, some of the second 11s batters get time in the 50 over cup, and hopefully they almost make themselves pickable, like Ace the Tribe did. And that's the hope. But you're right, we're only 3 games in. Lost against not obviously the champions, and it's the banners as well. Yeah, I have to bring in an opener and then move people up. It's probably too much of a change, isn't it? This early in the season. So yeah, that okay. So I think we're saying we're keeping the top 7, and I think they need to change the bowling. The weather, I have looked at the weather, and it's not good for Sunday.
Mm.
Monday with rain and some showers on the Saturday. So it's going to be opposite weather to what we had on this weekend, where there wasn't any time lost. So it's going to be disruptions. It's going to be probably overcast. Yeah, there is no other sort of spinner to come in anyway. Without Kelly, we are just down to the one spinner. But Zain Hassan is not doing it with the bowling either. So it's just that bowling option, really. I think they should make a change. Now, whether or not they will, I don't know. It'll come down to fitness, I think, probably. And yeah, so I probably would try and probably instead of Gorvin. And then, yeah, leave the batting batters as it is. I think we're all up to date and we're all previewed for this Hampshire game. Yep, the next game Glamorgan will have after Hampshire, which we'll preview next week, is the Glamorgan Somerset. Interesting what Ed will have to say against his home county and how well they're going so far this season. So that just leaves me to say thanks very much. We will be back next week. Bye for now.
More and more are joining them. The players are rejoicing.